Hey guys, it is 5 in the morning. It's a Monday, and I wanted to do a quick vlog. Me and my oldest daughter moved the meat chickens outside yesterday. It was not supposed to rain, and then last night, probably around 9 o'clock, we got, I checked the rain gauge this morning. I think it was about half an inch in 30 minutes. Some of the chicks, for whatever reason, did not get under the covered area in one of the turkeys, and they drowned. So just 3 chicks and 1 turkey. And then one of the chicks that was already weak, there were 2 of them that we moved that were weak. One of the chicks that was already weak had passed on. So before I go to work today, I get to do that super fun job, get to clean up dead babies. And then I'm going to make a couple of changes because we are going to get a little bit more rain. I'm probably going to go ahead and put a tarp over the whole thing. I actually never had that happen before. We get rain all the time, and I've never had the babies not get under the tarp. I think it's because we did it yesterday afternoon, and the rain just kind of came up out of nowhere in the evening. I don't think that they were kind of over the initial shock of being moved into that new enclosure. Gathered them up and put them in a little pile right there. Those guys, understandably, let me turn off my headlamp or divert it. There we go. Understandably, those guys are under the heat lamp that is the middle of the night. And that's okay for me when I'm brooding chicks. I don't like the Cornish to eat constantly anyway, and they do need to sleep. So as long as they're not overly packed together. See, sorry, my speech is not that great. I didn't have my whole cup of coffee. There's the one that's kind of back there eating food. They're okay. But what I'm going to do, because we do have this wire under here, I'm going to go ahead and put a piece of cardboard under them. I didn't do that yesterday because the time change just kind of messed me up mentally, and also I had a pretty big chore, something I've never done before. I got blood samples for my goats, so that I think kind of gave me an underlying stress level. So I'm going to put a piece of cardboard underneath them temporarily to help hold them up off the ground for at least a few days. And then I don't know yet if I'm going to put a tarp over this whole thing. I'll check the weather today, but it's pretty warm right now. I think it's going to be in the 70s. I think a tarp over here with the humidity, I think, would not be a good idea. So I may just put it over them this evening. But all right, got to get to it. I grabbed the bags of grower finisher instead of starter grower. So I've got to take these back to the shop, trade them out for the starter grower. Alright, so I got some cardboard underneath them. I've got both of their feeders full. This is the most I've ever tried raising before of the meat birds. I ordered 50. We kept them in the house for 2 weeks. That's about all I could stand to keep them in the house. They've got a large feeder full over there. Well, not full, a little bit in it to get them used to eating out of it. They have their drip watering system here, and it is working, but they haven't quite figured it out yet because their main water that they're used to drinking out of, sorry, my focus is going in and out. Maybe if I get my hand out of the shot. They're really sucking that down. That was empty this morning, so I'll put another water out here that's sort of that style. But right now, I've got to dispose of these baby chicks. Also, I need to feed the cow. Cows, plural. I'm not going to have time to milk. You know, every time I think to myself, oh, I need to take Mr. Hamburgers in to the butcher, I can handle the milking. It's not that I can't handle the milking or that I don't have the discipline. It's that because really when your goal is to grow all of your own food eventually and you're working, I do think it's possible, but it's definitely a journey. I'm certainly not there yet. And there's something that comes up probably every week. Yesterday, my Nubian had a stomach ache. We had gone a few weeks without rain, and I thought we were out of coccidia threat time, and we had like 2 inches. I'm sorry, I'm exaggerating. We had 1.5 inches. Come here, Jack. I'll put him in his little area right here. We had 1.5 inches in one day, and then I meant to put Corid in their buckets. I didn't. A few days later, goat diarrhea. So I gave her a treatment, but that's something that has to be done today. It's just not worth it to me to risk her getting worse. And she did seem like she was better yesterday. And one of the things that I do that I don't know or notice when I'm watching these goat videos a lot of other people doing, when you do have a goat with an upset stomach, I treat the goats with the home remedies that I treat myself and my kids with. You know, I'm not gonna feed a kid with diarrhea. I'm not gonna feed her steak and salad. I mean, it's just stupid. So when I have a goat with diarrhea, I don't give her any grain, and she just gets hay. And that's pretty easy. You just separate the goat with diarrhea out from the other goats, feed the other goats grain. Or what I do a lot of times, you know, if one goat gets sick, I don't want the others to get sick, so just as a precautionary measure, I go ahead and don't feed any of the goats grain until that has moved out of their system. So, got to check her out this morning. Dropped a dead baby chicken. Tabby's not happy. Hear her mooing in the background. She is used to being the first attended to in the morning. And of course, with all this rain, the pigsty is a pigsty. Ugh, so nasty. Let's see. And I'm not doing pastured pigs. Somebody else can do that. I'm not doing it. Daylight's really throwing me off. I put my cat back on, not because it's cold, but because my hair was doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Yeah, so it's daylight, and it's only like 6:05. So I'm just feeding the rabbits, and then I've got to go in and make sure that my teenager's about to get ready to walk out to the bus, because it's about time for her to go out there. And then I'll be done with my weekday morning farm routine, plus a chicken situation. So that's not too bad for a morning that started off pretty crappy. I got everything done, I think, on time. Probably just jinxed myself. But real quick, I'm going to show you this rabbit who is has some nesting behaviors and should have some babies within the next couple days. So yesterday was day 28, and from when I had bred her, and I put a box in here. The box was full of grass, and at first she was eating it, so I wasn't sure if she was going to kindle this go around. But it looks like she is, so I'm going to grab a bundle of hay. I'm not going to worry about putting it in the box. Well, I probably will. Sometimes they just pull it out and rearrange it anyway, so sometimes I just throw it in here. But I'm definitely going to get her some more hay to play with now that she's in the mood. The other two, this one, she kind of made a hole in the back right off the bat, but then hasn't shown any more interest. And then this one sat in here for a while, and I thought she was plucking her hair, but she wasn't. So just kind of playing around. We've got a few more days, so we'll see what happens. Got one more thing to take care of. Betty Jo still has a stomach ache, so we're gonna do 30 cc's of Gatorade, and then probably whatever I can get her to take down with Pepto-Bismol, probably 15 or 20 actually. I just want to stop the diarrhea at this point, so that's what we're gonna do. And she's up and about. I don't think she's like in super bad shape, but I'd rather take care of it before she gets in bad shape. Got all my samples here. I have blood samples from, that's a milk sample. Blood samples from half of my herd. I'm going to get the small ruminant bioscreen. And then I've got a milk sample from Tabby. They can do a test for yonis. using that method with their milk. I will mail it out today on my lunch break. Both kids are at well, they're not at the bus stop. They are on the bus and headed to school. I've got probably about 10 minutes before I need to leave the house. So I thought better of it and I decided to go ahead and cover this. I said earlier when I was halfway asleep that it'd be 70 today and they wouldn't need a cover. I don't even know what I was talking about with that. That's not going to make it that much hotter in there, and if we have a pop-up rainstorm, I don't have to worry about them drowning again. As you can see, there's one guy that's wandering. He was wandering all up here earlier. He doesn't really seem to be using the supplemental heat at all. I found that to be true in general of the Cornish cross once they get a couple of weeks old. If you live somewhere where it's super cold, that's different. But here it's in, like, right now I think it's just a hair under 70 degrees, and like I said, it'll be 80 today, so they do have a heat lamp in there if they need it, but I don't think they will. I'm going to tie this down with some string, and actually I just, I don't normally do this, and I normally give the chicks unmedicated feed, but because of the very wet, gross conditions, I'm going to put Corid in their water. And when I have to use this, I use an ounce per 5 gallons. So they obviously don't have a 5-gallon container in there, so I just have to fix that up. But I'm just going to do that today because I think that storm was really stressful to them, and I won't use it again after that. And Corid is not an antibiotic. I'll have to look it up, but I think it's maybe a thiamine or it's a blocker, and it just keeps the coccidia from replicating in the animal's gut until the animal can kind of get strong enough to overcome that itself. So that's that. I'm going to get this done and head to work. Have a good week.